Good morning everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our daily editorial analysis. How are you guys today? Good morning Yashashvi. Am I clearly visible and audible? Good morning everyone. Can you hear and see me clearly everyone? Good morning Rajiv and Purva. And Nikita, Achal, Tanya. Am I clearly visible and audible? Good morning, Ragini. Good morning, Ashmita. If you could quickly confirm that I'm visible and audible, I shall start with the session. Yes. Clearly visible and audible. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So I have a surprise for you today. I messaged you in the Telegram groups that I have one article that none of you, or probably very less number of you, have read. It's a very difficult article, not an easy one, needs a lot of deep understanding, and I'll tell you later on what the source of the article is. I had to hunt for more than an hour for a good article that I could bring today. I read the Hindu, the Indian Express. I could not find any good article in yesterday's newspapers. And they were so simple, they were so easy. And then we had been doing the Guardian for quite some time as well. And the Guardian also did not post any good article in the last 2-3 days. At least not one that was unbiased. It has some articles on wars, but then, you know, the Guardian would take one side, you know which side. So obviously we had biased articles there, and then I kept hunting Aeon. In Aeon as well, I found a couple of articles, but I thought from the perspective of your examination, the article wasn't very relevant. So I kept hunting and hunting and hunting, and then I landed up into this article. I'll tell you what the article is about. But before that, if you're targeting CLAT 2022, then batch 3 for the crash course has been launched. जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो बिकॉज आपके पास बहुत कम टाइम बचा है, बहुत कम टाइम बचा है क्लैट 2020 के लिए. प्लस इफ यू टारगेटिंग क्लैट 2023, इसके लिए भी बहुत टाइम नहीं है बिकॉज इट्स गोइंग टू हैपन इन डिसंबर. बैच 2 फॉर दिस एग्जामिनेशन हैज बीन रिसेंटली लॉन्च्ड वेयर आई विल आल्सो बी टीचिंग. लुक नो फर्दर, जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो. And last but not the least, if you're targeting other law entrance examinations like MHCT, LAT, SLAT, BLAT, JAMIA, since their pattern is a little different from CLAT, you can enroll yourself at the earliest for this batch 2 as well, specifically if you're targeting 22. So, jaldi se enroll kar lo, miss nahi karo classes. Good morning everybody. Okay, so देखो एक मुझे आपसे एक फेवर चाहिए, ठीक है. फेवर क्या चाहिए बताती हूँ मैं. पहले वर्ड्स करते हैं, फिर फेवर बताऊंगी और सोर्स बताऊंगी आर्टिकल का, ठीक है. Lots of new words, tons of new words. I'm sure most of the words you probably have never seen or heard of, or if you have, you probably not know the meaning of them. So let's gradually start with the words that we have. I'm going to take only and only one article today. We'll discuss the vocabulary, tone of the author, summary. कोशिश करना आज जरूर लिखो under my video. Okay, everybody try to write down a summary under my video. I'll check all of them. And in the end, we'll look at today's Hindu, Indian Express and we'll see what are the important articles we need to read. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले वर्ड स्टार्ट करते हैं, ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट वर्ड whimper. That's a common word. I'm sure you must have seen that, specifically if you read books. So whimpering is a kind of noise, the gruffled one, where you are either sad or in pain or you are anxious, you are scared. ऐसे केस में जो बहुत लाइट लो वॉइस निकलती है, that low voice is called whimper. So a child in bed nearby began to whimper, maybe because the child was hungry, okay, or maybe the child's body ached because of the vaccination. Okay, so the child began to whimper, make low noise because the child was in pain or scared or unhappy for some reason. That sound is called whimper, the first word. Okay, namaskar, good morning. हाँ सत्येंद्र, सस्पेंस तो क्रिएट किया मैंने और आर्टिकल भी बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल है, मजा आएगा आप लोगों को पढ़ के, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट वर्ड इज डूम्सडे. आपको पता आर्टिकल क्या होने वाला है. द मोमेंट यू सी डूम्सडे यू नो व्हाट आर्टिकल इट इज गोइंग टू बी अबाउट. डूम्सडे इज द लास्ट डे ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स एग्जिस्टेंस. आपके कल्चर में कौन सा वर्ड यूज करते हैं डूम्सडे को डिफाइन करने के लिए? कैन यू टेल मी दैट? Doomsday is the last day of the existence of mankind in the world. What word do you use in your own culture, in your own language for doomsday? The sentence is be it believed that the time of doomsday is concealed from mankind. That is, mankind, humans, they don't know when the doomsday would happen. Final, okay. Last day, yes. Qayamat, yes. Death, Qayamat, absolutely. Qayamat is the word that we use. It's the last day of your life, or the world is going to end, and then you're answerable to the Almighty. Yes, Qayamat in Islam, absolutely. कलयुग नहीं बच्चे, कलयुग तो जो चल रहा है वो है, जो अंत है वो कलयुग नहीं है. कलयुग बेसिकली अंत की तरफ जाएगा, but Qayamat is the exact word for doomsday. Okay? Apocalypse बिल्कुल बोल सकते हो आप, रिलेटेड वर्ड है. Yes, अंत बोल सकते हो आप. Okay? Then we have this word phantasmagoria. इसको हम ब्रेक करके देखते हैं. Fantasy is the root word here. So phantasmagoria comes from fantasy. Any imaginary thoughts, probably in your dreams, or a utopian world that you imagine, will be a part of your phantasmagoria because it's a part of your fantasy. So link it to fantasy. What happened next was a phantasmagoria of horror and mystery. That is, this horror, and misery. This horror and misery was only in the dreams. We had only imagined of it in our fantasy, but we saw that happening. That's phantasmagoria. Okay? Psycho. Euphoria related one. विनाशकाल बोल सकते हो बिल्कुल. Illusion, yes. Hallucination, yes. Deja vu related word है. Hallucination हो गया. Utopia. All of that is a part of your fantasy. Yes, that's phantasmagoria. Correct. Pralay बोल सकते हो रश्मि. Yes. Is my voice low? Is it still low? Rashmi, is it still low बच्चे? नाइटमेयर हो सकता है, फैंटास्मेगोरिया बिल्कुल हो सकता है. शेफी, जल्दी से एक बार कंफर्म कर दो इफ आई एम लाउड इनफ, बिकॉज यू नीड टू हियर अ लॉट ऑफ मी टुडे. यूटोपिया बिल्कुल एग्जाम्पल हो गया यूटोपिया फैंटास्मेगोरिया का. ओके, नॉट लो. नहीं, इट्स नॉट लो. एवरीवन इन द YouTube channel says it's not low. Okay, I'll try to speak a little louder. Okay, louder. Next word, reptilian brain. Okay, now see, a part of our brain is exactly like a reptile would have. That part of the brain is called reptilian brain, obviously, because it is like a reptile's brain. What is that part responsible for? That part is responsible for our instinct and our behavior for survival. These two things, instinctive thinking, मुझे लग रहा है ऐसा होगा, my instinct tells me that, or my behavior for survival, that I need to make money to survive. These things, what part of our brain tells us is the reptilian brain. Got that, everyone? Whimpering, I'll do that again. Just a minute, let me fix my volume. Just a minute. Give me a second, please, guys. Let me fix it. Hello, hello. It looks fine from my end. I'll just continue, okay? Sixth sense बोल सकते हो आप? Absolutely, yes. I'll explain whimper again. Whimper. Intuition भी बोल सकते हो, yes. विम्पर फिर से बताती हूँ. विम्परिंग इज एक ऐसा नॉइज, लो नॉइज, जब आप वो किसी के थ्रोट से निकलती है जब वो पर्सन बहुत डरा हुआ होता है या फिर जब वो पर्सन बहुत एंग्शियस होता है या नर्वस होता है या पेन में होता है. सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी विम्पर. I am wearing a very good mic. I don't think it should be a, see, I don't think that should be a problem. I'll continue like that, people, okay? Reptilian brain, फिर से बता देती हूं मैं. Reptilian brain हो गया है आपके ब्रेन का वो पार्ट जो आपको इंस्टिंक्ट के थ्रू सोचना में हेल्प करता है या फिर सरवाइव कैसे करते हैं ये बताता है, वो पार्ट ब्रेन का. क्योंकि वो पार्ट आपके ब्रेन का एक रेप्टाइल के ब्रेन से मिलता जुलता है, हम उस ब्रेन के पार्ट को ह्यूमन बॉडी में रेप्टिलियन ब्रेन बोलते हैं. ठीक है, ओके. यस यस मोविस, बिल्कुल करेक्ट. विम्पर इज नॉट वेलिंग. वेलिंग तो जोर जोर से रोना होता है. विम्पर इज बिल्कुल धीरे से आवाज जो आती है. ओके, ऑल राइट. नेक्स्ट वन. ठीक है, लास्ट वन, रेट्रीब्यूशन. ये वर्ड हमने मल्टीपल टाइम्स किया पास में. रेट्रीब्यूशन इज पनिशमेंट देना किसी गलत काम के लिए. टू पनिश फॉर अ रॉन्ग और क्रिमिनल एक्ट इज रेट्रीब्यूशन. सो एम्प्लॉइज आस्क्ड not to be named, saying they feared retribution. Okay, so maybe employees complained about a boss, but then they said, don't take my name because I fear retribution. I fear punishment for any wrongdoing. That's retribution. A punishment for a wrongdoing is retribution. Slide number 1. Please take a screenshot, everybody. We've got very good words. Okay. Punishment, yes. Rehabilitation, retribution का related word है. Reprimand is an exact synonym, Supriya. You're right. Reprimand is an exact synonym. Punishment, yes, Shreya. Okay. Flagging, avenging, related words है. बिल्कुल correct. Judgment, punishment, penalty, yes, Ragini, all are correct. Let's move to the next slide, everybody. Slide number 2. Catatonically. Okay, heard of this word ever? Catatonically is basically symptoms that your body would show where you are unable to move, or maybe when you become really restless or confused. Why would these reactions happen in your body? In what condition? Why would your body behave catatonically? That is, no movement at all, or a lot of movement, restlessness in your mind, confusion, agitation in your head. Why would your body react that way, catatonically? Bikram, I'm sure you would be helped a lot with this class. So, why would your body react that way? Corona? Okay. Head injury? Yes, could be. Or maybe you could say when you are nervous, so you either freeze or you become restless due to fear as well. Absolutely. Or nervousness. Yes, Pragati, correct. Hormonal changes में तो देखो freezing नहीं होगा, restlessness हो सकती है. ठीक है नवनीत? Fear, anxiousness, stress में बिल्कुल. Adrenaline rush में हो सकता है. अच्छा, adrenaline rush के साथ आप hormonal changes बोल सकते हो. ठीक है. Okay? Or any mental problem, head injury, all of that can lead to catatonical reaction of your body. Next word, stasis. So stasis is when there's a stoppage of movement of fluid in your body. So normal flow of blood, maybe it doesn't work properly. You see, am I talking about body in the passage today? No, I'm not going to talk about that. No. Because a lot of words are used for body and mind, you would be thinking it's about your anatomy. No, it isn't. Okay. After I do the last word, I would ask you to guess which article am I going to take, or rather which topic the article would be about. So stasis is a condition where the normal movement of fluid in your body will stop. That's stasis. The next word is colluders. Any questions, anyone? Okay. Gaming, I can't do that. I'm not a law teacher. Okay. So, stasis can be clotting, restrict, restrain. सब correct synonyms है. बिल्कुल correct है. All of that is a synonym or synonyms to these. Next word is colluders. Colluders is okay when people come together to do an illegal act, usually an illegal one. Not always, but mostly it's used in reference to an illegal act. So people coming together to do an illegal task in secrecy is colluding. So the managers and the union leaders regularly colluded to rob the plantations at the expense of the workers. So these managers and the union leaders, they came together to do something in secrecy that would probably be illegal or unfair. That's colluding. Conspiracy, for sure. Or accomplice. Yes. All of these words are synonyms. Correct. Unlawful assembly. ठीक है, बोल सकते हो related है. Wrongful act. सारे legal terms आ गए आपके mind में. Okay, so that is a yes. Betrayer बोल सकते हो. Yes. Trishika बोल सकते हो. No, this article, all the 85 people watching me today, I haven't taken any article from the Hindu or the Indian Express or the Guardian or Aeon today. I have a big surprise for you today. And I'm sure most of you, 99% of you, haven't read this article. It's a very difficult article. It needs a lot of inference, a lot of deep understanding. I'll take only one article today, but I'm sure after reading that, you would be able to understand reading comprehensions in a better light. Next word, cadaver. Simple. A dead body is cadaver. A corpse is cadaver. Cadaverous is the look that a person may have as if he is dead. So a ghostly look can be a cadaverous look. Got the words, everyone? Cahoot, complicity for colluders. Yes, correct. No. बच्चे Times of India नहीं. जब Guardian और Aeon से नहीं लिया तो Times of India से क्यों लूंगी मैं? No, not Times of India. No. Carcass बोल सकते हो, dead body बोल सकते हो. Yes, correct. Corpse, pale look को भी आप cadaverous look बोल सकते हो. Absolutely correct. Yes, corpse, dead body. Defunct, related word है बिल्कुल हेमेंद्र. Okay. Next one. Disenfranchised. Disenfranchised. This is the time period between the end of the tenure of one government and starting of the tenure of the next government. So the time period that falls between these, that's the transition period, is called disenfranchised. जब कोई गवर्नेंस रहती नहीं है, एक खत्म हो गई है, दूसरी आने वाली है, तो उसके बीच का जो सॉरी मैंने गलत वर्ड बता दिया आपको. सॉरी गलत वर्ड बता दिया. Sorry. The word I was explaining was not disenfranchised. Rights and privilege rokna is disenfranchised. I was explaining interregnum. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. My bad. I'll repeat that. So I was explaining interregnum, transition period, interim period को interregnum बोलते हैं. Disenfranchised. So franchise your rights, but वो rights रोकना is a violation of that, or probably not giving any privilege or right to somebody, is disenfranchised. We strongly oppose any measure which would disenfranchise people from across legal advice. Okay? Got the words, everyone? Restrictions, yes, that would be a synonym to disenfranchised. Bereft, yes, bereft होगा इसका synonym. Absolutely correct. Correct. Ineffective for interregnum, yes. Infringement of right for disenfranchised, yes. Correct. Okay. अब देखो, one thing that we construed out of the vocabulary, this is the next slide. Let's look at the last slide, everyone. Slide number 2, jaldi se screenshot le lo. You see there are so many negative words, but is the article negative? No, the article is not negative. Trust me on that. The article is not negative. You'll see the world in a different light after that, okay? Let's look at the next slide, everyone. Third slide. Galactic comes from anything that relates to galaxies. Is galactic. So the search for a black hole at the galactic center of the galaxies is galactic. Okay? Infringement हो सकता है बिल्कुल. Last slide फिर से दिखाओ, जल्दी से देख लो बच्चे. Infringement हो सकता है disenfranchised का synonym. जल्दी से देख लो last slide everyone. Okay, moving on. So galactic is something that links to galaxies. Next word, lurching. This is a common word. I'm sure you've seen this multiple times. So lurching is usually staggering, not being able to walk properly because maybe you're hurt or your movement is uncontrolled. That is lurching. The car lurched forward because it was beyond your control. So it lurched forward. Okay. That uncontrolled movement is lurching, or it could be staggering as well. लड़खड़ाना भी हो सकता है lurching. Okay. Cosmic. Yes, cosmic can be galactic. Yes, correct. Barging can be lurching. Yes. Grapple. Related word to lurching. Stumble. Yes. Stagger. Yes. Stumble. Yes. All of that. Anatomy terms तो है बच्चे गुलशन, but anatomy पे article है नहीं. The last one, tempest, is a kind of, so see, when we look at winds, wind की अलग अलग speed के लिए हम अलग अलग नाम देते हैं. जैसे zephyr, वो soft wind के लिए होता है, और strong wind के लिए हम tempest use करते हैं. जो literature पढ़ता है, जिसको literature पढ़ने में interest है, आपने ये word I am sure सुना होगा. A raging tempest. Raging is like angry one. So this is a violent windy storm that would probably look like it's really angry. That's a tempest. Hurling. Yes. Hurling हो सकता है. Lurch को lurks related word mark कर सकते हो आप. Tornado बोल सकते हो. Storm बोल सकते हो. Thunder बोल सकते हो. The Shakespeare's play. Yes, Purva. That's exactly what I was referring to. Yes, exactly, Tanishka. Yes. Tempest by Shakespeare. Correct. Hurricane बोल सकते हो. Tornado बोल सकते हो. All of that. Last slide. Lilia screenshot. Any idea what the article today is going to be about? Anybody? Cyclone बोल सकते हैं. Yes. Yes, exactly, Vivek. It's The Tempest by Shakespeare. Any idea what the article is about? Anybody? By the time I have a sip of water. Tanishka, you're very close. Shweta, you're absolutely right. The article is about the end of the world, which can be a new beginning. This is what? This article is from The Outlook. This is where I picked up this article from. So that's what we're going to be talking about. The end of the world that can be a new beginning as well. Okay. Now this article, of course, since you've seen so many negative words, I'll give you a disclaimer. The disclaimer is this article, of course, talks about something negative, but there is a positive side attached to it. Please don't look at it negatively only, because every time the author explains something negative, he will represent some positive side of it as well. This, if you look at it negatively, can actually play with your mind and make you unhappy. Don't let that happen. There is a positive side attached to the entire passage. We will look for that. What is the positive side? That's what our agenda is going to be. So let's start understanding the passage. I'll give you 1 minute to read this page, read this, and then I would explain it in a couple of lines. Go ahead. Send me a done when you're done. Bereaved, Trishika, bereaved का मतलब होता है somebody who is suffering, who has lost somebody. That the suffering coming out of losing somebody is bereaved. Absolutely, Navya, it can. बिल्कुल गुलशन, एग्जैक्टली यही है, अंत ही शुरुआत है. Done. Simple, right? So, the author here says that how would the world end? What is the end? How will the doomsday happen? When will it happen? And what will make the world end? It could be with a whimper, as T.S. Eliot had said, or it could be with a yawn, as Alexander the Pope had said. Different people have different imaginations. So, all of this that people say it can end with a yawn or it can end with a whimper is a part of our phantasmagoria. It's a part of our fantasy only. It's a part of our imagination. And the phantasmagoria we are seeing today was surely dreamt up by a more reptilian brain. Reptilian brain that's responsible for our instinct of survival. We would imagine ऐसे world end हो सकता है, so we can work over that to make ourselves survive. What else could have conjured up such a cocktail of doom? Cocktail of doom ही तो है क्योंकि कोई बोल रहा है whimper में होगा. Somebody is saying it's going to be a yawn. It's a cocktail of how doom would happen with every ingredient associated with celestial wrath and retribution. Pestilence, death, floods, cyclones, earthquakes, locusts alongside burning forest, clinical depression, scorched relationship and combusted jobs. Can I say all of these are ingredients mentioned by the author of ingredients of doom? Yes. These are the ingredients of doom. Locust coming. क्या-क्या देखा हमने last 2 years में? So many things that our ancestors, forefathers did not even dream of thinking. Lockdown हो जाएगा, mental state disturb हो जाएगा, we would be struggling with jobs, money, health, oxygen, all of that. And then we had cyclones and floods coming in. All of this are ingredients of doom. As a result, these things are the result of the wrath and retribution of the celestial world, the nature, the entire galaxy. It's the anger and the punishment the galaxy would inflict upon us. One thing is clear, for the breath rationed and the bereaved. Breath rationed, सुना होगा I'm sure ये Bollywood movies में that you have limited number of breaths, right? You would be taking only those number of breaths that are allowed to you. We are breath rationed. We can't be living forever, right? So, the breath ration and the bereaved people who have lost somebody. This isn't the time of the whimper or the yawn. The COVID era is one of the gasp. So, he says, if I talk about COVID era, it's not about whimpering or yawning. That means the world isn't ending with COVID. COVID is only a gasp. You are struggling to breathe and you're gasping for breath. So it's a hiccup in between. COVID is not a whimper or a yawn. Got that? Got that, everybody? Can I continue? Send me a thumbs up quickly. Video team, if you see anybody indulging into any unnecessary talk, please block them right away. Exactly, Rishabh. You're absolutely right. The Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Correct. Let's move on to the next page. Read this. Send me a done when you're done. Such a sad line, see? But then we have a positive part of it. We'll see that. Read this, everyone. Yawn. Oh, when you're sleepy, you yawn. Ubasi. Anadi. Opening your mouth wide and taking a big gasp of air in. So the author says, done everyone? Done? Okay, let's see. So the author says, now that 2021 is coming to a close, so it's an older article. We know more about Greek alphabet than the virus. Why do we know more about Greek alphabet? Thanks to the different variants of COVID and the names given to them as per Greek alphabet. We know more about Greek alphabet now than we know about the virus. I have lost several dear to me. Some people haven't lost a lot of people, but we've all had our share of thoughts about endings. I for sure thought the world is going to end. I'm sure sometime in your mind also, specifically during the second wave of COVID, when you saw suffering all around you, the thoughts might have come to your mind that the world is actually ending. This is the end. I read the Sartre play decades ago, but when the doors slammed shut and we were left with the mind-numbing chatter of our minds, the phrase that rang catatonically through my days was no exit. That is when, for example, it's a metaphor here used. Metaphor with your mind to a physical room. Understand the metaphor here. You're sitting in a physical room. The door is shut. You are alone now. What are you left with? The only chatter that's there in your head. You're talking to yourself. There's nobody else in the room. This situation is used as a metaphor for it with your mental state. But the author kept telling himself, there was days when there was no exit. Energetically, this was stasis. Scripturally, it was pralay. Remember the word we had discussed? If you talk about the scriptures, you could call it, this is your end. It's pralay. Experientially, this was the dead end. No exit. This is it. You can't move out of it. It's the end. Witness no longer. We were participants, preparators, victims, agents, colluders, confronted by the finite rhythms of our breath and the grim consequences of collective responsibility. No hands were unsoiled. No gaze was innocent. That means everybody will be retributed by the celestial world. You would be punished. For example, COVID or tsunami or landslides or flooding or locusts, you would be punished. There were no hands that were unsoiled. Unsoiled मतलब hands that were clean. ऐसा कोई भी नहीं था जिसके हाथ clean थे. ऐसा कोई भी eyesight नहीं था. ऐसी कोई भी नजर नहीं थी. Gaze is नजर जो innocent थी. Everybody was a culprit at that moment. Okay? Yes. Now, blame games and conspiracy theories have abounded. So obviously, because हम suffer कर रहे थे, what would we do? We would start blaming people. COVID हो गया, China ने कर दिया. My daughter still tells me China is the naughty boy and USA is going to straighten up China because she probably overheard one of our conversations. So blame game started. Locust, Pakistan sent it. COVID, China sent it. No vaccination, our government donated the vaccination. US did not give us the IPR waiver. The blame game started, the conspiracy theory started. But shifts have happened too. Almost everyone, irrespective of age or cultural background, seems to have attempted some brand of life audit. Life audit, that means keeping a check of what you've done in your life. So in open, you would possibly be blaming somebody or conspiring against somebody. But while you're alone in the room, you would be thinking, auditing your life, what you've done in your life. And you would think, I am dying. I am dying, said a terminally ill woman to a Tibetan monk. And the monk said, so are we all. All of us are dying. So what's new in that? And because he spoke from daily experience, not fridge magnet wisdom. What is fridge magnet wisdom? You tell me that. I'll wait. What is fridge magnet wisdom? He said this with experience and not fridge magnet wisdom. Understand the meaning from this. Oh Lord Sagne, that happened to my family as well, and a lot of our families. It was a difficult time. Okay, I'll tell you. Fridge magnets are only for show, pretentious, okay? So something that comes from his experience and not something that's only pretentious. His wisdom was not pretentious. His wisdom came from experience. So fridge magnet it relates to being pretentious. When he said all of us are dying, he did not say it only as a fridge magnet wisdom to pretend or to show that, okay, this is what everybody says. He said this because he had experienced it by looking at people around him. She instantly trusted him to guide her through her death process because what he said came through his experience, the monk's experience. Mortality has always looked us in the face, but it's not just the Tibetan monk of the anecdote who knows it today. This is not the only person who knows that mortality will happen to everyone. We all are far more sharply aware that the cadaver's face could be our own. Yes, all of us have to die one day, and Shiva's Tandav is the dance of freedom we might be capable of if we know how to be present at our own cremations. So, although people who haven't studied Hindu mythology, Shiva did a Tandav dance which was the dance of destruction. A dance that would destroy everything. Himself as well. It would destroy Shiva himself as well and everything else around him, because Shiva's wife suffered and burned to death. So that's when Shiva performed the Tandav dance. Okay. So the author says, and Shiva's Tandav is the dance of freedom we might be capable of if we know how to be present in our own cremations. But we can't be present in our own cremations. In short, if we knew how to be responsible for our own lives and deaths. Thus, the author says you can't be present in your own cremation, but you certainly can be responsible for your own life and possibly your own death as well. No, Navya, not an intuition. No. Yes, and the third eye would open and the world would be destroyed. Yes, Anadi. Correct. Let's move on. Let's see. But then you must be wondering, where is the positive part, man? Where is the positive part? It's only the world ending. Yes, I'm sure you must have guessed it. Let's see. This is not to underestimate the horror or to trivialize the consequences of the poor and disenfranchised. But with the imminence of death, the experience of life does somehow grow sharper. Now comes the positive aspect of it. He says, we know that death is inevitable and it's imminent. It's about to happen. Once we know that, the experience of life grows sharper. That's when you would start experiencing and being aware about your life. I know an octogenarian who has suddenly found herself writing poetry. Octogenarian, 80+ person, started writing poetry. Friends seem to picking up long forgotten musical instruments and reading lists because they know death is imminent. Why don't we do things we've always wanted to do now? Trying to heal festering relationships, do it right now. Changing the ground rules for their work lives, yes, do it now. I would not hustle more than this. This is what I want to do it now. Rekindling forgotten friendships, call your friends, do gardening, make time for meditation, move out of big cities, live in tiny villages, live the time of your lives, walk on the beach. Do everything now, because when we know that the death is imminent, it's about to happen, the experience of life somehow grows sharper. Now, did you see the impact? The positive aspect of it? Yes? Did you understand this part? Send me a thumbs up, everyone. Also, if you're enjoying it, please do a like right now and share my video. Please do that. And please comment under my video also. It's been a long time that you've appreciated my efforts. Do that right now, please. हाँ, कल हो ना हो वाला सॉन्ग आ गया माइंड में. गुलशन, तुम पूरा थीम हाईजैक कर लेते हो. यस. ट्रिविलाइजेस त्रिशिका, जिसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. ये जो हॉरर है ना डेथ का, ये वैल्यूलेस नहीं है. इट हैज सम वैल्यू, इनफैक्ट बहुत बड़ी वैल्यू है. लेकिन इसकी जो फियर है ना, वो हमारे मन में लाइफ को बहुत फुली जीने के लिए हेल्प करती है. ओनली द फियर ऑफ डेथ एक्चुअली, दैट पॉसिबली वी विल नॉट बी अलाइव टुमारो, सो लेट्स जस्ट डू एवरीथिंग टुडे. और ये जो थॉट है ना, इट इज रीकिंडल्ड विद द इमर्जेंस ऑफ कोविड इन आवर माइंड्स. Yes, okay, let's see. And what has become of, continue hai, with 2 more pages are left. Okay, now let's see. Viraha, what is this? So this is another word that we see in Hindu mythology. Okay, very likely this author has been a fan of Hindu mythology, if not a Hindu at all. And what has become of Viraha? Viraha means the experience of separation. Okay, immortalized by so much secular and sacred literature, Viraha in Hindu mythology has been a word that everybody has to go through in their lives. The experience of separation, separation with your loved ones. It could be the spouse, it could be family members. You could be a soldier going at the war front, you would experience Viraha. You would be a frontline worker, not coming back home because you were serving COVID patients. That is an example of Viraha. You would possibly go study in an NLU, away from your parents. That would be an example of Viraha. Think of all the songs and poems we know about separation, of being parted from love, spouses, parents, natal homes, motherlands, heaven, or the divine. So Viraha can be separation from anybody you love, anybody. I found myself thinking, and then see, when we talk about the end of the world, Viraha becomes an important aspect here. I found myself thinking recurrently about Meghdut, that classic love lyric by Kalidas. So Kalidas wrote a poem where a lover asks a passing cloud. It's a very funny part, please understand this. So Kalidas wrote a poem, Meghdut. So Dut is a carrier, a messenger, and Meg is cloud. Okay, so in the poem, a lover asks a passing cloud to deliver a love message to his beloved wife. But cloud has taken on an entirely new meaning for us today. Cloud does not mean the cloud. Cloud is the storage cloud we are referring to. The author is referring to here. He is not referring to the cloud that passes by who would take your message to your loved ones. It is the cloud that where you would store a lot of data on your computer. And the dailiness of Zoom and WhatsApp, we have all turned matter-of-factly into time travelers. No more fluffy cloud carriers, couriers for us. We don't send messages through that. We send messages through Zoom and WhatsApp. So, even while our physical doors are shut, our digital windows have been opened to friends. My door right now is shut, but this digital window is open to hundreds of you watching me right now. It's open to friends, colleagues, families, invented and inherited around the world. You invented family around the world. You right now, for example, are my family. I see you more than I see my own child. It's my own invented family. Am I really proud of that? No. A radical shift has been embraced with staggering ease. Yes. What is the radical shift here? Who's going to tell me that? Yes, viraha is the agony of separation, seclusion. Correct. What is the radical shift the author is referring to here? Who's going to answer this? What is the radical shift? Who would tell me that? Absolutely, work from home. What brought that radical shift? COVID did. It's work from home. Real to virtual, exactly. Shift to the digital, exactly. That is the radical shift the author is referring to here. Everything online, yes. And we have embraced it with a staggering ease. As so many ideas about space and time have been tossed neatly out of the window. Space, time, kya hota hai? Out of the window. Human imagination will surely never be the same again with this radical shift. Was it the spiritual teacher, Muji, who said that learning to live apart in time is learning to live together in eternity? This spiritual teacher, Muji, supported viraha. Learning to live apart right now is learning to live together eternally. Viraha, you have to go through viraha. Yes, the word apocalypse. When we talk about doomsday, this word cannot be far away. Yes, the word apocalypse hangs heavy in the air. Still, we talk about it. We might be thinking possibly the end of the world is near. Because of the CO2 emission as well, we could talk about that. But the thing about being Indian is that we don't really believe in endings. Do we? We find it difficult to subscribe to anything so conveniently terminal. No, we don't. We don't believe in endings. The Tibetan idea of the bardo. What is this idea of bardo? It's an interval, an in-betweenness, not just between lifetimes, but between breaths. So this Tibetan idea talks about intervals. Intervals could be your death and then your revival into another human being or any other being. The interim time could be bardo, or you take a breath and after fractions of second you leave it and then take the next one. There is a break. That interim break could also be an example of bardo. So this Tibetan idea has always resonated deeply with the author. I have long been fascinated by commas rather than full stops. Full stops, the end. Commas, viraha, or breaks in between. Surely, caterpillar dreams turn apocalyptic when they dissolve into green mush in their cocoons. Right? So, they dissolve completely and then comes the silk. It must be terrifying. A bit like turning from alchemist. Ye line dhyan se padho. This part. Very important. A lot of inference can be drawn. It must feel terrifying to the caterpillar turning green mush into the cocoons. Transition from one phase to the other. Yes? Or you may actually feel like a catalyst. Sorry, an alchemist. Who is an alchemist? Who mixes chemicals and works with them, okay? So you may feel like an alchemist who is just swirling contents in a conical flask. Alchemist hai. Just sitting and mixing things like this. What are these? What is he referring to? Free. Oh, okay, so or to use a biblical image from free agent to Jonah in the whale's belly. Another example. So basically these are metaphors. This alchemist is a metaphor, swirling his contents in a conical flask. Or an agent in the whale's belly is another metaphor. What is it referring to? A nightmare. That you are in between the transition. Once I mix the chemicals like this, a new chemical will be formed. Once you are inside a whale's belly, you are a different person. You used to be something else. Now you are just the food for somebody. So your transition from one being to the other. These are examples or metaphors explaining transition periods. But is it the end, or could it be an interregnum, the reboot, the bardo? So when something ends, is it the end, or is it about probably an interim part before you become something else? It could be. Hindu mythology believes in reincarnation. Yes? Let's look at the last paragraph. Perhaps the COVID moment then is our bardo. Now you link everything, what has been going on throughout the page. COVID, starting with the end. We thought COVID was the end. No, COVID was not the end. It was the bardo. The moment when we see upfront and unphotoshopped the grimy consequences of living with fragmented gazes. He says, if you look narrow, there would be a bardo reminding you that you need to look deeper into your lives. COVID was a reminder. It was a bardo that would straighten up your fragmented gazes, looking very short-sighted, myopic with your life. We would like to blame our gods, our ancestors, our parents, our politicians, each other for what we are suffering with. COVID, for example. हम किसी को भी blame कर सकते, but for how long? Until we all fall down, as the old nursery rhyme goes. तब तक blame करेंगे? Will that work? Till the time all fall down? Maybe it is time to abandon the playground politics. Time to embrace a new way of engaging with the world, rooted in the knowledge of the fundamental problem is our own divided hierarchical minds. Perhaps the apocalyptic future then is for those who live in the past, for those who live in memory, because if you live right now, you should not be worried about apocalyptic future. Live your life to the fullest. One more thing. So I don't think we need to read all this. Here it is important. So, but there's some consolation in knowing that for the greatest goddess, life, it's just another day. Her crazy laboratory. You may be suffering from a lot of things. You may see the world turning upside down and a whirlpool going on around you during COVID. But for life, the goddess, it's nothing but just another day in her crazy laboratory where she would be mixing things and creating something else out of it. Now, what is the tone of the author, everyone? Limbo, yes. You could call it limbo as well. What's the tone of the author? Everyone. Did you like the article? I loved it because tone of the author. Humorous? Not at all. No humor at all. Yes, laboratory is the world. Absolutely, Anadi. It's philosophical. Nothing but philosophical. Only and only philosophical. It's philosophical, my child. Yes, Anushka, it's philosophical. Okay? Optimistic kuch fragments hai, but majorly it's the philosophy, his philosophy that he would want to explain, along with quoting multiple other philosophies to support his own philosophy. Okay? Alchemist part में अली ऐसा समझाती हूँ. Alchemist कौन होता है? जो chemicals mix करता है, कुछ नया chemical बनाता है. जब वो chemicals mix करता है, अपनी glass को stir करता है, swirl करता है, नया chemical create होने वाला होता है. ये बार्डो का example है. वो interim period जब दो अलग अलग chemicals थे और कोई नया chemical बन के आएगा, तो बीच में जो mixing का time होता है, that is the alchemist example talking about बार्डो. नहीं नहीं, नॉट एट ऑल सत्येंद्र, सिनिकल बिल्कुल भी नहीं है, उल्टा ऑप्टिमिस्टिक है. फिलोसफिकल में क्या होता है? फिलोसफिकल आर्टिकल में ऑथर अपने मन की एक फिलोसफी एक्सप्रेस करता है और उसको सपोर्ट करने के लिए और भी फिलोसफीज कोट कर सकता है. बार्डो, वंदना बताया था ना बीच में, बार्डो होता है ट्रांजिशन पीरियड. ये तिब्बतियन फिलॉसफी थी जो ऑथर ने एग्जांपल दिया था. तिब्बतियन फिलॉसफी थी कि जो ट्रांजिशन पीरियड होता है, एक खत्म हो गया और दूसरा स्टार्ट होने वाला, उसके बीच का पीरियड, ब्रेक को हम बार्डो बोलते हैं. Okay. All right. Now, sharing today's Hindu and Indian Express. Please like the video, comment under my video, share the video. I haven't asked you to do this in quite a while. Please do it right now. ये कौन सी न्यूज़पेपर से है? ये दी आउटलुक में से है. ठीक है. जब न्यूज़पेपर हिंदू में से कुछ अच्छा नहीं आता तो हम ऐसा कुछ लेते हैं. Let me share the Hindu in the background and let's see what's important today. देखते हैं क्या पढ़ना है आज हिंदू में. आज भी कुछ अच्छा नहीं होगा तो कल फिर ऐसा कुछ लेके आऊंगी. Some of you might be actually bored during the class today because you don't like reading about philosophy. Do you have a choice in the examination? No. So do you have a choice here as well? Yes, but you shouldn't exercise that. Yes, I will have a class on BBA channel today on critical reasoning. Exactly, Mobis. Okay, let's look at the Hindu and Indian Express, everyone. I will, Ragini, I will. Leave this article. Skim. शशि थरूर का तो स्किम कर सकते, थोड़ा बायस्ड होता है. स्किम. Skim. Yes. Yes. Important. This is important. Let's look at the text and context. No. No, don't read. Don't read. Actually, apart from a couple of articles, there's nothing important in the Hindu. You should rather read the Indian Express today. Okay, so Russia's offer to cheaper oil, leave. India's stance on invasion, leave. On South Asia, US, no. Shrinking the Muslim women's choice, skim. The pandemic's income inequality surprise, skim. The way he plays, Lakshya Sen. दोनों पेपर में से एक आर्टिकल पढ़ लेना on Lakshya Sen. Kerala Congress, skim. Amid Ukraine crisis, skim. That's all. Let's look at the explain page. Nothing very important. कल भी मुझे ऐसा ही एक आर्टिकल ढूंढ के लाना पड़ेगा लगता है. Okay. Petrol diesel prices, no. A favor with the army and allies, no. Don't read that. I don't want to become an IS. Neither do I want to buy a house. Entrance test for central universities, how and why? CUCET, I think. No. Zomato's promised to deliver food in 10 minutes, how it will work? No. The CUET, yes. Skim. Russia's draft of the external debt payment? No. Yes. This is still okay. You can skim through it. Why is it so hot in March? Skim. Leave this. Leave this. Skim. Leave this. Skim. Skim. That's all for today. That's all. That's all, my people. Nothing very, very important. Alright guys, so that is all for today. I shall see you again tomorrow. Okay? Have a very good day. See me at 12:30 everybody. Please comment the summary under my video. I would check all of that. Thank you so much everyone. God bless you.